Welcome back to the Night Shift. It is time for the money match. Abraham's defending and Leviathan swimming up to take the throne. ZP here with Jason Kaplan and Jason. Now we're going to get a chance to see just what Abraham's has been cooking here, where I think we're going to get a wide variety of looks here today between EU and NA.
Yeah, I think for me, what I'm looking at is how much, I literally just said this right before we came on air, how much of the team's actually been scrimming with the new patch. I think in NA, very likely they've been scrimming quite a bit. Over in EU, I don't really know because there's only a couple of teams out there anymore that are at that level that you'd want to scrim, that you would actually get experience from and good feedback on of what builds are working, what playstyles are working. But one thing is true, when it comes to like a deathball meta, Abraham's is going to be the team to look out for. They've done it in the past. They were one of the teams, I guess it was technically like one win, who was really successful when they were dominating buff and drawers with it. But having ABL come over into this one with the team, having DMOB join, when it comes to brawling, I just don't know how well anyone can brawl against them if you're not buff enjoyers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially different reads on the meta. Again, I think one of the big shifts from Abraham's is that may not be seeing them on Yamato as much, which is also a good segue into the Abraham's roster. The roster, of course, you haven't seen that is going to be going in here. Haven't seen today. So we have here. And going in here, and yep, there's a change. ABL said, get me off Yamato, put me on the Drifter. So again, seeing what is valued is going to be interesting. We were talking a little bit in the break about, maybe things that could have been different last game. I do kind of feel like giving up both Billy and Abrams at the same time could be a bit of a mistake with how good Frontline seems to be right now.
Yeah, I've had many games where I get absolutely trashed by a Billy or an Abrams. Both of them just completely smashed in my face. And I don't think it was a skill thing. I think I'm, a pretty good player. Probably one of the best players in the world, actually. I think DMOB canned me for lessons once. But no, those two heroes are just ridiculous. But what's also ridiculous, we didn't have Kelvin being, I think, banned or picked last game, if I'm not mistaken. Which is kind of crazy considering the last 5 to 8 months of whenever he's available, he gets picked. I wonder if Saint's going to be piloting him for this one. But also, man, for ZP, like Lash, he's seen some buffs. Will we see him at some point over the course of the day? I don't know, but I would be interested to see if we have him. I
mean, his laning is better. His general stats are like just good in terms of the early mid game, so he can fight on more even ground. Certainly a lot more popular in pubs than he has been, but in actual match drafts, it's been kind of mixed on where people have been ranking Lash, because he's still at a competitive level has the problem of, well, buy counter spell, and then a lot of people you want to target just simply don't care.
Well, on that note about counter spell, one item that I don't know if we've seen that much when it comes to, pro play, because we've only had one match today so far, but focus lens. I've seen this item being picked up so many times, and I was watching someone yesterday. You would know this name for sure. Aimbot Calvin. I don't know if you remember him from the Overwatch days. I was watching a game from him. He was playing Mina, and I kid you not, there was at least 10 debuff removers in that game because there was 10 focus lenses. And it's ridiculous. The silence on that, the damage amp you get when it does proc as well, it is so hard to deal with. And of course, it fits perfectly into so many different builds of hitting that 4.8k mark to get that power spike. I'm wondering if we're going to see it today, man, because I think it's like such a sick item, and it has to get nerfed in its current state.
Well, we'll see. I also wonder if people are overvaluing it a bit. Like, we didn't see as much in EU. NA loves the hell out of focus lens right now, but I'm kind of mixed because people sometimes overreact to buffs, but other EU roster coming in. We just saw him. It is Leviathan, and some things stay the same here. You look at how they were playing around, where, Obakim maybe a little bit freed from the support role in this particular mix of players. OCs, though, still very much all about, yep, I'm a farm, do more farming, and even more farming beyond that. But also, what's going to be interesting to me, I think, between these two teams, Chase, is that they're both teams that really highly prioritize Bebop. And I think you can argue Bebop got better in this patch. You have more opportunities for hook and lane, and hybrid Bebop build may even be stronger than what we were seeing before. So feels like a good time to be the prio Bebop to me.
And also, considering overseas is one of the best Bebop players, there's definitely the opportunity for it. I think you were talking about in the last game, the fact that you have to play so much closer to the minions now to be able to get the souls and to pick up the extra iteration of the souls that do drop on the ground. It allows brawlers like Billy, like Abrams, even like Bebop to facilitate and open up a lot more engagements that maybe normally wouldn't really have. You can't really sit far in the back and just play defensively and passive. So yeah, I can definitely see the value of Bebop coming through here. Also, we had, I believe it was Knockdown in the last game picked up. So it was like a Bebop hook into a knockdown with the uppercut. And there was nothing you can do, as we did see for Drifter, to escape that combo. So definitely a high possibility. But I was also curious, in your eyes, you talked about it a little bit when it came to pick priority. What heroes do you think at the top of our pick priority in the previous week do you think are going to see a falling through the ranks in terms of bans or picks?
All right. Well, I have to go back to, I mean, clearly number one in terms of priority was like Holiday, right? Like Holiday still got picked, but was picked way less of a highly valued. I think Paradox also kind of in the same boat where so long as people aren't valuing picking playmakers early, you can get away with picking it late. I think there's a world where Paradox suddenly rapidly climbs and people start trying to, do things like pick Paradox, ban Bebop, and then, you're stuck with Holiday as your only option. So you have a little bit of that involved. The interesting part for me is I thought Shiv might be more picked rather than banned, and Shiv just straight up got banned right away. So, what has changed and what hasn't is interesting. I do think the Kelvin part, though, was a little bit of an anomaly. Like, I think Kelvin is still going to be more highly valued, at least when you get to NA. EU may have had a bit of an overreaction. But, Jason, if any team would play the Kelvin, it would be Saint with Abrahams.
Exactly. And that's what I want to see if he gets through. If it's not going to be banned here, is it something to be going for? Because it is on the cards, or it is on the table to be played. Also, on the note of Infernus, man, I don't know if you've been playing up against like the Toxic Bullets, Infernus, but my lord, it hurts. Superior duration, Toxic Bullets. If you ever get Afterburn on you, you're pretty much just dead. I'm also curious, does this mean we'll see a rise of Mirage as well? Because he's seen, at least from my matches, what I've been seeing a lot of streams as well, he's risen through the ranks of being a very strong M1 hero that actually could be like the new top tier M1 hero.
Well, Mirage also benefits from the new 4.8k tiers, and he is really highly contested in NA. But here's what we have here. Leviathan, they go, okay, we're going to take Shiv. We're not going to give together his namesake. But instead, Abrahams goes, that's fine. We grab Billy. My question here is, in terms of prio, do they go Drifter or do they go Abrams? You go Abrams if you want to secure the front line. You go Drifter if you think Drifter is the GOAT. Or in this case, you say, screw both of that. Warden's back, baby.
He wasn't gone long enough, CP.
I'm glad he's back.
No, the worst part is that if you guys in chat, we don't know about ZP is he likes to play the most OP heroes he possibly can in any game he ever plays. He played Genji, he played Widowmaker in Overwatch. He plays Warden.
Tracer, not Genji, to be clear.
Okay, Tracer and Widowmaker. He played Warden, and then when Warden got nerfed, he's like, oh, Gun Holiday is pretty good. I'm gonna play 200 hours of Gun Ivy, and then Gun Ivy gets nerfed. Or sorry, not Gun Ivy, Gun Holiday. She gets nerfed, and Warden gets buffed. He's like, okay, I'll go back to Warden. I guess I can be convinced. I want to see you play something that's like not top of the meta right now, in flavor of the month, CP.
I like good mouse one heroes. That's what it comes down to. I like shooting good. Priority-wise, though, Leviathan realizing that, hey, Abrahams, they themselves, like a little bit of test Bebop. They grab the Bebop of their own. Abrahams coming up here with the Vindicta. But, okay, so in turn, the front line for Leviathan looking a little bit better. Drifter is still not picked. I think Drifter is probably likely to come in here as first pick for Abrahams off the mid-stage bans here, Jason, if it's not banned. If I'm Leviathan, knowing some of the data here, I actually ban Drifter because I think ABL is angling towards it.
Are you just saying that because he wanted his picture, his signature hero change to Drifter, or do you have some scrim bucks to talk about?
I mean, it is basically coming off ABL from that and people just generally singing Drifter's praises in the back. So putting two and two together, I feel like it probably is going to be ABL Drifter, especially given the fact that they didn't highly prio Yamato, where, last patch it would have been Yamato picked by far by now, right? So is it going to be Drifter? And no, it's Paradox, which frankly, as far as the available playmakers go, I don't think you really want to play Holiday as much. Like, yeah, you can make Spirit Holiday work, but I think getting Paradox is probably important when Bebop is off the table.
Okay. Also the Dino event, I didn't want to skip too much over that. Just because we had him picked in the last game, we had him banned in this game. So far, he's 100% pick or ban rate. I've been playing a bunch of him in my games as well, and I'm not gonna lie, the kinetic pulse damage is insane. I think Ayano just didn't get farmed enough in the last game to really have massive impact when it comes to it, but it's still a very kind of squishy hero with not a high amount of mobility. It does set up a lot of plays, especially when you're skirmishing so often in the enemy jungle or in your own jungle. You do have a lot of opportunities to come up with some very big plays. But the Viscous and the Holiday being locked in for the Leviathan, so going for all the pick heroes with Holiday being secured. As you're saying, probably not going to be towards the gun, but the Viscous, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really hate it. I think it's a solid pick still these days, even with some changes they've made to him. I think he still does a lot of damage, even though he got hit with some slight nerfs.
Yeah, I mean, point me to a time where Viscous was bad. It would be my response to that. I mean, Viscous, even when he's bad, is usually good, but you know what? Maybe I've gotten baited. Drifter was fully available, and Yamato is still picked 6th. I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to see the ABL Drifter here. I was buying some of the hype, some of the scrim bucks, and instead we just get Garden Variety Yamato, which will be getting played by ABL on this iteration of Abraham's. But
are you
Lash comes in.
Because I think last week we saw Together playing the Yamato over ABL in their best of 3 against Buffers. I think ABL played it once, and then I think he played Drifter, and then they gave Yamato to Together. I wonder if they're going to put like ABL on more of a carry. Like
he's playing.
One thing is, I'm looking towards Warden. I'm like, who's going to be on Warden? Is it Dimov or is it going to be ABL? Because Together for me is going to be on Billy.
Dimov, I think you go far enough back in the sands of time, like Dimov could play the Mirage in theory. Like that could be a thing for Dimov, and then you have ABL on the Warden. Like there's a few different ways that this could break down. Because you're right, I mean, Together has played Yamato in recent times, but usually that I think it came to place. What are we looking at?
Look under me. Look under me.
I have. What am I seeing?
Look straight down from where my finger is. Under Kaplan.
Jason, there's nothing there.
Under Infernus.
It's Lash.
It's Lash! Well, come on, I thought we got a little bit more hype out of you.
No, I mentioned the Lash. I said, yeah,
okay,
they picked the Lash towards the end. Like, I'm saying, it's like, wait, I've acknowledged this. I'm like, what am I specifically looking at? He has production given separate fees. But no, Lash coming in is interesting. I mean, obviously his early laning power helps a lot. Do I love it against the Abraham's comp? Not necessarily. I mean, because stop thinking about natural counters here. Getting Yamato off a Death Slam is going to be difficult. Getting Mirage is going to be difficult. Yeah, you could maybe punish like Billy Warden under the circumstances, or specifically Vindicta, but I don't love a lot of the natural interactions for it, to be honest.
What I don't love is I'm kind of just seeing a lack of. This might be just the old way of thinking right now, to be honest, but I'm not seeing like a high amount of damage from Leviathan. Like, yeah, I know Abrams can do damage. I know Shiv can do damage. I know Lash can do Viscous. I know they can do damage, but I'm not seeing like an overwhelming amount of damage for them to go for these brawly fights. And I mean, look at Abraham's side, and I'm just like, I mean, you got Warden, you got Billy, you got Mirage, you got. I'm not going to talk about Yamato yet, but you have 3 very high tier picks, at least in my eyes at the moment. There we go. That makes it very interesting and hard to deal with. For me, I don't know about UZP, but Abraham's to me outpicked him for sure, at least from what I'm seeing.
To me, I think Leviathan just has a comp that's like way more narrow on win conditions. I mean, effectively, you look at Leviathan, they need to get ahead early and then they need to stay ahead and ideally funnel a lot of farm into the Shiv. I don't think they have a team comp that's going to play particularly well if they have to play from behind or even play even. I think Abraham's scales a lot better than them. And I don't think Abraham's necessarily weaker in the early game for that. So, I mean, overall, Leviathan has a much more slim path to victory of the two. It's not impossible, but it is going to require some high performance.
Happy birthday Nock. To you. Happy birthday. I thought we were going to do this together, CP.
No, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Nock. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, now he's just scared he's gonna make it to another birthday when you end that way. It's just like, yeah, happy birthday, happy final birthday. Also, what is going on here? This is a little bit scary up in middle.
What's scary? I guess is that voice in Grim of this is his last birthday. I hope it's not his last birthday. But yeah, anyways, into the game. So we're seeing a Shiv Bebop together in the mid lane up against a Mirage Paradox. Now, I don't know about you, ZP, if you've been getting a lot of Mirages in your games. I am getting absolutely bent over constantly by Mirage, maxing that Jin's Mark. Though I know you can go for the Scarabs to go for the early trading power, but man, the Jin's Mark, when you get a little bit of spirit on your side, it is so daunting and difficult to deal with that it just chunks your health. It makes it so hard to trade.
Yeah, I mean, Mirage is a lane demon. I mean, frankly, he always has been a lane demon. Just people weren't a fan of, some of his later game carry. And, that element has been a little bit fixed. Just like our prize pool tracker, which so far we got $25 that was added in by Iron Falcon at the start of the show. So thank you, Iron Falcon. If you want to donate to the prize pool, of course, all that info is in chat. It's !donate. That's
Where you at, Tetsuo? Where you at from last week, Tetsuo? Dropped a 1K on us, and I think it was, 100 or 200 subs as well?
Yeah, Tetsuo was going wild in the best possible way. Also, talking about lane pressure, it's not often that you see a Viscous lane get bullied back. But when you got Billy Yamato, you know, it can be a little bit dangerous to move up against this lane.
Yeah, we also do have the confirmation we didn't really touch on that ABL is in fact on the Yamato, as you see, just getting a little cheeky there, going for the right click action, and it will be Sonya Sniper on the Warden and D-Mob on the Mirage. And speaking of Sonya Sniper, gets a kill on the right hand side. That Warden Vindicta lane, which we saw last week, I believe it was, can be very hard to deal with. A tether into a binding word, and you know what, you're not escaping, you're going to pay that ultimate price.
Yeah, I mean, Warden in general has always been a pretty good laner. Not so much for that power slash, which hit nothing but sign, but yeah, I mean, that lane is a scary lane, and, you know, OC's paying the price, where also, we kind of have to talk about OC's on Abrams. It doesn't fit OC's MO of getting rich. Like, you're probably not dominating the jungle on Abrams, at least not usually, as the Lash. A bit of danger there. Just together, moves up, gets a bit of pressure, and you don't need the kill, you just get the HP tax.
And they're freezing the lane, bro. Like, okay, we don't see this enough at high level, I would say, or in like comp matches, or even in your pub matches. They're trying to freeze a lane to maximize the amount of souls of a lead that they could have, hoping that the enemy minions will kill their minions while they're out of range, and they can't get any of the souls from it to create a bigger and buffer lead. And I mean, right now you can see it together at 2.1, ABL at 2.3, Empty Dreams at 1.8k. So some work has already been done in the first 3 minutes with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of situationally dependent, but freezing is a little bit back, and oh man, OC's for being the player that is always rich. This may be the most poverty-stricken game OC's gonna have, because if you get a bad start on Abrams like this, the ability to catch back up is pretty limited, even if you get periods of time to get a lane to yourself. But you take a look at how this left lane has been going also for Abraham, just really top-tier greedy positioning on all ends, and here comes the dive on top. Billy looking to back up Yamato here, looking for Lash and Viscous. Viscous super low, dashing around the Guardian. How much longer can Obakim survive? Not much longer at all. This together finishes it off.
Oh, I don't think Sonya, or actually not Sonya Sniper, sorry, that's gonna be Empty Dreams. I don't think he's gonna be safe. This together will finish him off. And you know, as we were talking about a couple of the rosters and who's playing who, I don't think we've ever seen Obakim on Viscous. It's always been D-Mob on Buff and Jors, or was Hoot. So this is gonna be a first showing of him and what he can do on the sticky icky, as Puckett would say, as he's here in spirit. But OC's at least able to chime in with the kill here to get himself back on the board at 2.9k souls.
Rough start here though so far, and you know, it's kind of interesting where, you know, the changes of Guardians go down a little bit later here. You know, what's the litmus test for a team getting blasted right now? Before it was losing a Guardian under 4 minutes. I think that the timetable has shifted a little bit here, Jason, but with the left Guardian already under half and the right Guardian a bit pummeled, to me it feels like Abraham's actually has a way bigger lead on here than you might think so far.
I mean, even without looking at the walkers, I can definitely feel the lead already with the amount of kills that have been going their way. That's going to be Empty Dreams going down. I believe that was once again. You see a nice lasso come through to catch on the Sonya Sniper, pulls him under the Walker, or no, the Guardian for the help, and then we see Fireball able to respawn as well as Obakim. So 2 quick kills being turned back in favor of Leviathan. Maybe making me kind of like second guess what I just said.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a punish there, but it doesn't help OCs who, you know, all that farm ends up going to Flammable. Obakim, bit of punish though on the ABL. So turnabouts across the map here as Leviathan strikes back, evens up part of the game. Not going to even up the deficit of HP on the Guardians, but still not a bad spot to be in. But I still look at OCs, man, and I mean, you're going to see Abrams panhandling in the streets of the Cursed Apple at this rate.
Oh man, that's not gonna be a good sign for him. I'm kind of curious what build he's gonna go. And I was talking with you guys when the game was over, we were on break, about the last Abrams build. I've been seeing Listic in particular going with more spirit to hit that, well, at least the 4.8k mark, right? And then also to continue to build up into like superior duration, making his suck even more powerful, and becomes just such a big beast. His task is just gonna be fighting from the top rope, catch it on the Fremont is gonna fall. And maybe a second one as well, as we do have Vindicta here to help catch things out. And that's Saint getting a kill for himself. Doesn't have the max level assassinate just yet, but either way, they get themselves another kill, and they should be getting some decent damage on that mid lane Guardian.
You know, yeah, you're getting damage on mid lane from the point of view of Fremont and overseas, but you gotta respect the ability of the other team to just come in off the zip line. Like, I don't know, that punish was pretty telegraphed and obvious in my mind, and it's like you could have let off a little bit of Guardian damage and not giving up 2 kills here, but both respawns have come back in. Swap here on the Fremont. Fremont, though, a lot healthier, coming back from base. Still a little bit low. Man up dying for the bloodletting. It does. It's still too much damage to deal with, especially with the rotation of ABL off into the mid lane. This Guardian soon to fall.
You know, I do wonder, how valuable is it to take early Guardians? And I say that because in the previous patch, when you took the early Guardians, it was really easy to take away the enemy jungle. But the jungle got buffed, so it's a little bit more difficult to do so. It's a little bit more, oh my god, what a parry at a demob. A little bit more troublesome for you to go for something like that. So when you take Guardians this early, I mean, maybe you're looking for fights in the enemy jungle, but it's a little more difficult to build up the economy from doing something like that, where you can continue just to get farmed up in your lane. So I do kind of wonder, maybe you have some thoughts on the ZP of the trade-off now of going for early Guardians to transition to jungle take.
I mean, aside from just getting the objectives down is good and giving yourself breathing room, it gives you the ability to invade centers. Like, centers are coming up in 10 seconds, and with the advantage that Abrahams has right now, like, you get empty dreams here. Look at where DMOV is at the moment, and look at where it together is. You're gonna go and grab the enemy side centers here if you feel like you have an advantage, and in this case, you're getting chased down by 3 people, so maybe not. But across the map, look for the early centers to be Abrahams, you know, taking liberties where they can.
ABL just kind of backdooring the Guardian. There's the third one of the game does fall. Leviathan did respond with some pressure on the left-hand side, but we see the quickly Saint going to be rotating in as Arvez Roke tipping $30 out into the prize pool. Thank you so much. Put it up at 1255 now. Remember, every week we're putting up 1200 and going for some donations. All the donations directly into the prize pool, not into our pockets. That's what the Twitch subs are for, if I'm right, ZP. No, I'm kidding. And everything goes back into the show, but the donations 100% go into the prize pool.
That's right. And okay, Shout Transformation is gone, and so is ABL. Spirit Lasso being presented. Wait, ABL actually may have just been able to get away, at least drags out the death into the subway, buys a decent chunk of time. See if Leviathan can reestablish. Low HP is the Lash. Empty Dreams unable to stay alive, and OC's right now. I don't know if you win this one versus Warden. Warden's going on the reload, looking for a little bit more damage. However, the backup in from Saint seals the deal.
I have to do the ZP, and I know I believe you were a big League of Legends player, but Soraka's Big Banana coming in with 5 gifted subs. Now ask me, ZP, what does that mean, Soraka's Big Banana?
I mean, honestly, it just sounds like a banana company to me as a non-league player.
So there was a hero, a champion in League of Legends called Soraka, and her auto attacks would be like a crescent, but it would be like super slow. And back then, in the early days of League, Joe Miller talked about it, having a big banana fascination with Soraka and the auto attacks. And someone actually built like an attack speed Soraka, so she would like spam these bananas constantly. And I believe that's where that name comes from. And this is like 2012, 2013 kind of thing. So this goes way back over 10 years.
You know, we're getting back almost to the point where, you know, people in 2012, a few more years, are going to be able to legally drink. You know, just, you know, keep that keep that in mind. Just, you know, or at the very least, vote. You know,
you were born before the year 2000. Oh, get out of here.
Yep. Just full Unk Central, but right now this is going to be a full-on collapse onto the right-hand side. Leviathan trying to make things happen here for this Guardian. Vindicta, Warden holding back, and you got Warden and Yamato in on the rotation. Abrahams not wanting to give this up for free. We'll see how the collapse ends up going there. Nice cool assassinate in from Saint, in off the zip, gets rid of the Holiday, and now looking for Freemok as another hit here. Freemok can't get away. DMOB gets that one. No assassinate required. And the ingress into the right-hand side is stopped.
Good counter pressure, and we're starting to see hefty, massive, giant-sized turkey lead right now for Abrahams. Almost 20k ahead, 10.5 minutes in. I guess I kind of indirectly got my answer about taking early objectives and being able to invade into the jungle, because this lead is showing really no signs of stopping. No sees. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna escape. Spirit Sap comes through. Actually, there's no Scarabs onto him just yet, and also you have Freemok there to help assist him. What a parry coming through at a Demon, the no-look parry, but can he escape the Bebop as well? Tornado comes out, he has the last stand coming out of Warden, the Bebop, the Hyper Beam, it might be good, but I don't know if it's Sonya Sniper last stand good, at least able to force him back. And while this has been all happening, Empty Dreams has gone down, and the pressure on the left lane Walker is going to be here.
Also, ABL is just going to be able to free pressure right Walker in off the exchange. So we'll see who comes in for ABL. Nope, ABL decides, actually, maybe a little bit of fighting. Hovering in and around the jungle. So the trades come out, and yeah, I mean, you look at the overall game state right now, it's pretty bad for Leviathan. on the aggregate. Although it is interesting for as broke as OC's is, OC's somehow got to be the most farmed on his team, even on his Abrams who got whomped. So that needs to be studied in a lab somewhere as Obakin runs afoul of Dimov. Chain Gang in here from Together. Looking for a little bit more here on the left-hand side. This is going to turn to a left-hand Walker push, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, they try to apply some pressure before. Walker's getting massive, especially the outside Walkers have gotten massive buffs as well, maybe making it to match the mid lane Walker HP. It's a lot more difficult to push those down, but just the freedom that Abrahams have and the pressure they can apply in all these different lanes. I mean, the 20k lead has been hit 12 minutes in. I don't want to talk about potential for comebacks or how this game's over, but it's not looking good, ZP. It's kind of looking like my waistline after Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, it's pretty. Also, I gotta call this out. You're living in Italy right now. Are you actually even doing Thanksgiving tomorrow? No. Yeah. Okay. just double checking.
I wasn't supposed to be here for Thanksgiving. I was supposed to be in New York visiting family for Thanksgiving, but I had to cancel, unfortunately, because there was a death in the family, and I have to go to California instead now. So. But no Thanksgiving, not to put on a downer note.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that real dark, and I'm very much sorry for your loss. But also, I was just trying to make an Italy joke, man. That really that went absolutely.
Italy itself is the joke,
Our green walker is
all right, so all in all, you start looking at win conditions here, and you have one very poor Lash and Empty Dreams. You still have Bebop, you still have Holiday, lasso-wise, but this is still, such a gap here, Jason, that, your Shiv is not going to be respected by most of the front line of Abrahams, certainly not by Sanyar Together. And even if you land a hook, the follow through, it might not matter, even with a clean pick.
Yeah, even with like a 6v5 for Leviathan, I don't know if they have the sustainability or damage to deal with Abrahams, and that's not a target you want to hook in the middle of a last stand. The snipes are looking good, not able to connect onto that one to get the confirmation, but still a lot of souls in the hands of Saint at 14k, and an earn turn in on the other side of the map, really taking everything they possibly can away from Leviathan, giving them no chance to get back in the game, as that lead is almost approaching 30,000 difference now. I mean, Dimov, he could probably pull off a 1v2 here at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, well, as you say that, there are limits, especially once your tornado is on cooldown. Things get a little bit rough, but ABL coming in on the cleanup. Nowhere for Fremok to go. And, this is where I kind of want to talk a little bit about builds here, where, yes, Abrahams are in the driver's seat and, very likely to get mid-walker or mid-boss pretty soon off some of these engagements. But you take a look at the Billy build here, and it's high green priority, which, maybe this much green priority a little bit different than last patch, where it may have been a little bit more well-balanced, but this is a tanky Billy, Jason.
Yeah, he's a big tanky boy, 2.5k HP this early on in. And also, I mean, Cultist picked up 2 for the extra farm potential, Fleetfoot, melee lifesteal, and he's also extremely fast with the enduring speed. Honestly, we didn't really get to talk before Trophy Collector got nerfed, but honestly, that was one of my favorite items to actually pick up, especially with this Death Bomb meta happening before it got nerfed yet again. That item and how quickly you can get around the map, that when you get full stacks and how quickly you get full stacks, was kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you got to play with it too much.
No, I mean, for the most, I did see it, especially when people are being death ball. It's like, wow, you're getting a lot of value off Trophy Collector. And then the next day, it just immediately got stomped into the ground. Oh, also, can we get the camera back on the Lash here for a split second? Because I just got to say something here. The Lash does not believe in protection, just pure spirit items across the board on Empty Dreams, which is not great. 11k, you're already behind the game. And being made of paper, that's not going to help your case, Jason.
I mean, if you're talking about him not really liking protection, going for full spirit, just don't you remember last week with the Viper Pregnancy Enjoyer image we had?
Yeah, no, I mean,
it's protection.
It's a consistent theme, as it turns out. But look, last stand, and just when you start contemplating life choices here, it's like, why did I go to this roof? What did I ever think was going to happen in this situation as Sanya cleans up? Interestingly enough, this is very similar to the build that, if not identical, a few changes here and there from what we saw. It wasn't Cult that came out of, but the build from Fearless Furies for their Warden player. So EU definitely taking a different tilt in the Warden builds than I think we're going to see from NA later today.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about Bobby's build, because he was the one on Warden last game. He was very spirit heavy, and I was curious, what have you been playing with recently with Warden? Has it been more gun heavy or spirit heavy?
I think regardless of where you go, you have to, commit to one in lane. I kind of like gun path here, even though like gun gets less of a 4.8k spike than say spirit does. The fact that you can do cultist and have cultist work into your 4.8k spike is pretty darn good. I do like seeing heroic aura get brought in because I think heroic aura is like still to this day one of the more underrated items in this game. Oh god, this is just you can't even hide into the veil for the extra 2 seconds before the assassinate comes in from Saint. And those two is like, wow, you're talking about item builds and what's going on a lot. It's like, well, this is a 40k lead right now, and there's no signs of abatement, no signs of life currently from Leviathan. So it's, look at how people have adapted here. And the one item that's really gone up here, Jason, BRS, bullet resist shredder. Seen a lot more of it across the board.
I mean, yeah. I mean, considering so many people are I want to say like more bullet heavy, kind of makes sense to have it paired with also the extra distance. Well, I mean, the gap it closes to get to your 4.8k threshold for spirit too. But man, this game's it's a 50k difference at 17 minutes. It's pretty much just GG go next. I don't think there's any world Leviathan gets back into this game, though. I know in the Trolley Open we did have, was it Mel Team throw a 70k lead to Abraham's. But
how many times can you go? That required multiple mid-boss throws.
Yeah,
which I don't think are gonna be here. It seems unlikely in this case. But also, can we get a quick hit on the ABL? See what ABL is building on Yamato, because I'm sure people are wondering, all right, what does an ABL build look like in this patch? And again, it's pretty heavy on tankiness, and it's tankiness and gun, Jason.
Yeah, it's weird though, because it's not like, it's close quarters. I forgot already what else there was off the top of my head. Oh my god, Saint, calm down. Another 850. And oh yeah, yeah, he does have trophy collector. I don't know how many stacks it's at, but I really wish they didn't touch it previously, and maybe I need to go back to it. Maybe I'm overreacting to the nerfs they recently hit it with, because it's still, I mean, look how fast Saint is running around the map with this. It is ridiculous.
Well, I think trophy collector, they always wanted to keep it at the level as that. They just kept buffing it. They're like, hey, people aren't using this item. We think the item's good. Have some extra souls. Have some extra souls. And basically, they reverted the +5 per stack buff it got semi-recently, and then hit it with a little bit of an extra nerf on top of that. But when you look at how tentatively the item was buffed, I feel like the dev team just had this point of view of like, look, this item is good, and people are stupid for not buying it. And then as soon as people were all buying it, they're like, okay, we're nerfing it. You see its value now.
Hey, just chill, guys, chill. Stop buying it, please. ABL gonna get caught inside the base with a nice charge coming through. He will fall. No chance at a second life, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna matter here. They can just take this patron down. D-Mob and attack on way together as well, just sliding on through. There's really nothing Leviathan can do about this one. The lead has slipped to a massive 70k lead 19 minutes in, and Abraham's making that look all too easy.
Yeah, and I mean, when I look at this one in terms of big factors, I think you can pretty much solidly say this one was lost in lane phase. I mean, lane phase went from kind of bad to extremely bad in extreme succession, and OC's even being as rich as he was towards the mid to end game was a miracle, given the fact it was like 4 Abrams deaths in less than 10 minutes. I mean, the laning for Leviathan just was beyond them in this game, Jason, and it's so hard to dig yourself out of that whole, when it goes on for too long.
Yeah, and maybe, there's something we could talk about. Maybe hit the podcast mode a little bit. I think in general, the laning phase is much more difficult, right? You would agree with that?
There's more to consider. You have less of a safety net. Like, whereas before, I think at competitive level play, you had a safety net in lane phase of just hang back by the Guardian and everything will be all right. Well, yeah, everything will not be all right if you hang back by the Guardian under these changes here. So you can lose lane phase a lot more thoroughly in this patch than you could previously. Like, the floor is lower, effectively.
Right, and so that's the answer I was basically looking for, because I think we kind of hit with this patch almost like the beginning stages of Deadlock, where teams who were able to build up a lead in the beginning were able to snowball that lead a lot further. And eventually it became very difficult to create a giant lead off the get-go in a game, unless you had like Shiv, Kelvin, who were dominating your lane. It seems like with this patch, it's kind of hit that threshold yet again of when one team is better than the other team, they are able to run away with the game, making it very difficult for the other team to get back into it, because with all the changes that have gone into the game, with the early game, with the jungle creeps as well being buffed up. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I also think part of it is that you're going to get a little bit more variance at the beginning here because I don't think any team is necessarily playing optimally. And if you have a bad read, which maybe Leviathan did here too, you're gonna look like worse than expected when the template of how to play is there. Like a meta that hasn't shifted in a long period of time is going to give you closer games because everyone knows what's going to happen, which is why I think games got really, really close towards the end of last patch. Now, the upside is you have a lot of shifts, a lot of things have changed, but also things have changed where you have more room to fail spectacularly if your read on how to play this isn't where it's at. But you look at the stats here and, say what you will about is hybrid good or not. Sanya definitely made the Warden sing in this game.
Yeah, 42. I mean, it was the tri-brid, right? I can even say that word correct. Well, yeah, he was tri-brid.
Yeah.
So he had all three picked up for himself. I think, tri-brid, wow, I can't even say this word correctly. Tri-brid, yeah, that's right. Yeah. ABL, you had it similar for Saint. You weren't saying anything, so I had to just go with it.
No.
Everyone went tri-brid on Abraham's side. And I think maybe that's indicator of, go tri-brid. I mean, you look at like Empty Dreams, for instance, he only had the Spirit Investment. Majestic Leap isn't going to get you there at 3,200. So he wasn't tri-brid. He was just one. One brid? Solo brid? You had Flamboy.
I don't know if extending it to solo Brit is like a thing.
I don't know, man.
Everything is a Brit. It's a hybrid, a tri-Brit. No, I mean, just focused in one respect here. I mean, you take a look at Empty Dreams with like, the pure spirit, and then eventually a late, Majestic Leap. But
I think obviously like the fact that they were so far behind in net worth, it didn't allow them to get to that tri-Brid state. So I think that's maybe one factor. Maybe that wasn't the intended route to not be going into like 3 different builds to hit that 4.8K threshold because they were, again, 70K behind. But that's also something to keep in note, I think, in the back of our heads. If we continue to see throughout today and throughout North America, if we're having more players and more teams go towards getting 4.8K threshold on almost every single hero because the power spike is that worth it. And if you power spike early enough, your mid game becomes so much stronger that you don't really have to think about an optimal build later on in the match because you just won't get to the late game anymore.
Also, I don't know if I did my counting right, but I think that's 4 bullet resist shredders in the game. Definitely the most we've seen of that item in a long time. Like, it still got picked up here and there, but one of the items that went up. Also, items that didn't change at all, despite getting nerfed for some heroes more than others. A lot of cultist in play, especially on Abraham's. The interesting thing about cultist is that that nerf does hit some heroes a lot harder than others, where like Mina and Hayes took it on the chin because getting weapon damage to them basically irrelevant. Fire rate is everything. So any hero that had more of a slant towards like I just need attacks to hit really hates the cultist change because it's still a very good item in terms of overall econ.
I have to give credit to Jegs Skald. That's how Yeg. I mean, it sounds like Norwegian, not Norwegian, like Scannic to me. Yeg Skalud. It says call it Triforce builds, and you know what? I can get behind that. On the note of cultists, though, I think it also I would want to go back and see when were the cultists picked up, because monster rounds early in lane is I think a very viable option. It helps you keep the lane shoved so you don't get pushed directly back in towards your own guardian. But if the cultists came when they knew they were going to be able to take these guardians down, it's almost like a brain blast of, okay, well, we can invade your jungle, take away these camps really easily because we can just literally devour them from you. And we can continue to snowball a lead there because we know you can't take these and we can. I think that's a really smart thing to look at if they were built after those guardians were taken because they knew they could transition to the jungle.
All right, well, Leviathan, they had a tough early game that led to an even tougher end of game. Can they bounce back to find a way to contest Abrahams, bring this series to 3, or will Abrahams be continuing to cement their new legacy as the #1 team in Europe? All that action and more coming up next. Well, it's a new meta here on the Deadlock Night Shift, but a similar result. Abraham's looking immensely strong, dominating game #1 with a great early game performance and carrying it on throughout the game. But, Jason, things have shifted, especially in terms of what people are playing. And, okay, it's just one map in the money match. We don't want to go too ridiculous on, our leaps of what's good, what's not. But what's really standing out to you?
Oh, man, I was really going to go a different direction before you asked me a question, but I'll circle back to it. I think the Billy, first of all, we didn't really have much of Billy the last weeks. I don't remember where he was in particular on our pick party of week 15, but I want to say around like 2 picks. We did see him played a ton once he initially came out, and then eventually kind of like tapered off and wasn't played as much anymore. But because of how strong he is, I feel like there's a reason we're seeing Billy being picked to such high priority. Again, we saw Shiv maintain the same level of like first pick or first ban, though we didn't really get to see Leviathan use it too much in this last one. But overall, I think for me, again, the focus on brawly heroes in the like mid or early mid game. But I'm also surprised not to see much emphasis on M1 heroes, because everyone was talking about, oh my god, it's like bullet meta against M1 meta. But we're not hitting the stage of the game for that to really take an effect, even with all these BRSs being bought.
Aside from Warden, where Warden's like, yeah, we want Warden, or in this case, we want to ban Warden. So yeah. Also, I'll say I got spoiled here because I have Discord notifications on. I just saw Parzival drop the last pick Viscous, so last pick Viscous is coming in. I'm saying that because if I get inside info, you get inside info. So we'll see how that one goes. But the first pick Infernus here, Jason, because this is the first game where Infernus hasn't been banned.
Ouch. That's all I'm going to say about it. Toxic bullets, afterburn, superior duration, goodbye. One afterburn and you're basically dead, especially if you're playing like a tanky frontline. But for Abrahams to also commit to that over like Billy or potentially Abrams off the bat, I think is really a testament to how high priority Infernus is becoming or has become with this new patch.
Yeah. Also, we didn't really touch on, but no Kelvin in the last game, even for Saint. Like, Saint was never like, I'll grab it. So the entire part, I think it's two things for Kelvin. One, his lane phase has never been worse. Now that he's shooting incredibly slow snowballs, I mean, he may as well be, pitching him with his arm. And then the fact that Frozen Shelter basically became a singularity tier ultimate, and how little you get to use it now with CDR nerfs and the nerfs to its minus 40 seconds upgrade. But Abrams comes in for Abrahams, so you're not going to give up both Billy and Abrams at the same time. But with Leviathan being picked, or Leviathan picking the Amato, to me, Jason, this is actually prime Drifter territory. We thought we'd see it last game, but now we might see it this game.
Yeah, possibly. And have you played? Actually, no, I was gonna ask if you played any Drifter games since the patch, but I know you haven't. You've been playing only Warden.
That's not entirely true. Like, I do workshop some stuff. If I'm not sure account wise, and I mean, Drifter feels good right now. Like, the main thing about Drifter is that like your left clicks, like, you actually feel like a significant threat. Like, the changes are good enough for Drifter that it's not bad. And you also, with the regen, you feel more confident just taking trades in lane. So his laning is better, and you feel a little bit better and able to actually kill people. And if you actually, by some rare occurrence, actually get stacks, it goes from there. Not a big of a factor, though, in competitive, but Bebop coming in once more for Leviathan.
I haven't gotten to play Drifter yet. I have like a long list of heroes that I really want to grind out. Me, I've been mostly playing in the patch. I've been playing Viper again. I'm just a big fan of Viper. I feel like she's awesome. I've been playing some Infernus, though I don't understand why I can't do the same damage that Infernus do to me. I've also been playing 7 a ton. I don't know if you've touched 7 at all, but Ball 7 can be so fun when you hit a certain threshold of souls, because your balls are just massive. When enemies get stuck, if you have any form of CC around him and you stick someone in a ball with escalating exposure, they're going to die. He's also a massive objective taker with the balls that you have. You just destroy walkers by yourself. One of the few heroes I feel like that can do that in the game at the moment. But that's what I've been playing. As we do see some more picks coming through, like you mentioned, you had Bebop being picked, Holiday as well. I think that kind of forces out the Paradox pickup out of Abrahams to make sure you have at least one pick hero. And we are going to see that Drifter, in fact, as EP for ABL.
Yeah, it's coming on in. And I think with Yamato off the table, it makes sense. I think the hero is actually quite good, and especially given the impact that Drifter's ult has on games. Like, if you had to kind of criticize where Arzo was playing the Drifter in the last game, I think Arzo is being a little bit too conservative of when to drop ult. I think you drop ult, you have a pretty big advantage in a lot of fights, but the haze comes on in for Leviathan. And I mean, you talk about a comp that's here really skirmishy early and often. I mean, we thought Hayes maybe would be getting picked as sort of a substitute playmaker in lieu of something like a Holiday that got nerfed, but instead it's going to be Barrel Holiday with Hayes and Bebop. I mean, this is a team that is going for tons of picks and probably is going to try and just funnel all sorts of farm to the Wraith as an endgame win condition, is how Leviathan sort of worked this around.
Oh, the last pick, Viscous. Who would have saw that coming? The Haze for me, I've been playing. ABO came in my stream when I was streaming the other day, and he told me to play his build of Haze, and I'm kind of digging it. You go for like a surge of power, you get the 4.8 threshold, but also the fact that you basically have perma stealth as well because of it. allows you to act as this like human ward for your team. And when you're forcing a lot of fights in your jungle and enemy jungles, have that extra vision really does help you set up your fights, set up your picks as well. I see her to be a very valuable hero that you can take in the meta right now, at least in the games I've been playing in my Initiate 1 rank. What about you? Have you been seeing a ton of Haze in your games?
I mean, Haze is, I think just like one of the most picked pub heroes, period. I don't think it even matters if she's good or bad. Like, that hero is just going to appeal to a certain amount of the player base, and she will get picked no matter what, which really sucks when she's not in a good state. I think, you know, realistically, it's still almost the player, not the hero, and how it gets played. Like, you know, for Haze, it's, I don't even get to the point of wondering, is like, how good is Haze currently right now? It's more so, is the Haze going to come to team fights? Will the Haze flame the team mercilessly if one kill doesn't go their way? Because Haze players have a particular personality to them. Like, these are the things I'm worried about when I have a Haze in my game. Like, and not even, like, there's more of a Haze player that goes into it, to be perfectly honest. So
damn true. When it comes to, will they tilt if they don't get the one kill that they're looking for? I'm curious to see how it's gonna be played, first of all. I'm kind of excited to see the Wraith too. So I would imagine like Wraith's gonna be left to solo farm, and Furnace as well. But I am curious, with Drifter, I think it's his 3 that gives you the blood trail that helps you see where people is. I cannot remember, is it low health targets or is it any target that's by themselves you can see?
I'm trying to remember on like what triggers it myself too in this instance. I mean, regardless, Drifter, especially when anyone hit it by his ult, he's going to be able to chase down, effectively.
Okay. The reason I ask though is, do you know if Drifter can see Haze if she's stealth with that blood trail?
I don't think so, but I may be wrong.
Don't think so. Okay.
I haven't done Drifter v Haze specifically, at least in the interim. But I mean, you know, are you going to see that interaction too much in this case? You know, it may happen once or twice, but I think for me, as I look at this and wonder how things are going to pan out specifically between the two teams, is that I think Leviathan has a comp that's, like, in theory, really annoying to deal with in the early mid game, and they can ramp reasonably out of it. Like, if they ramp out of it and they get the Wraith fed, like, you have a pretty decent end game option, especially with the Amato back amp too. However, it stays even. Abraham's, meanwhile, they're going to have Infernus to look back on, and also kind of the X factor of, like, how ridiculous can a Drifter get in the game. So this, to me, draft-wise, this feels a little bit more balanced than the last game.
Yeah, I like the Leviathan's comp way more this time compared to last. I'm also thinking, what are the lanes going to be? And is it going to be Holiday Yamato together and like Bebop Haze or Bebop Billy? Who's Wraith going to be paired with for Leviathan? I think if you look at Abraham's side, it can kind of make sense in its own. I think maybe Drifter Viscous will be together, maybe like Vindicta and Furnace, or Vindicta Abrams with Paradox to be like a floater. I don't know where the Haze is going to go though with the Wraith in general.
Yeah, I mean, the Wraith is, I mean, she's a little better early game than she was, but she's still, you know, I don't think anyone wakes up and goes into a Deadlock game is like, oh boy, I got Wraith as my lane partner. I am really excited about this. Like, no, I mean, she's still on the weaker end of laning on the whole. As I look at this and think about strong lanes, I mean, if you want a really powerful mid lane here, in theory, you could even just do like Paradox Viscous. Like Viscous in particular, especially the way Demov plays it, is like super aggro. You could put down a ton of pressure. You could do Vindicta Abrams for another lane. And yeah, I mean, you know, it leaves you, your last lane a little bit less good, but I mean, it's still Infernus in it. So I don't know. Abrahams has plenty of ways of making this reasonable.
See, I mean, I think, yeah, pretty obvious who Abraham's going to be on. Empty Dreams. I don't know if I like Empty Dreams on the playmakers, thinking back to Pocket when he played in One Win. I think he was a very good carry player for sure. I don't know how I feel about him on these brawly heroes like Billy, or I think he was on Abrams Osu was on Abrams last game. Yeah, I don't know if it like fits the style he's shown us in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, as far as like fitting styles, I do like the fact that OCs is on the Wraith here, if nothing else. Just, you know, it's like, what do you want OCs on? Get rich. What hero do you want to get rich? Wraith. This makes so much more sense than putting OCs on the Abrams. But okay, on the lanes here, okay, they do go Paradox Viscous, as I was talking about. So like, if you're looking for a mid lane with a lot of power, that would be it. Like, the burst potential is absolutely unreal. It can be really oppressive. And also, the fact that you're getting the Viscous versus Bebop is also a little bit of free value, too, just because of Cube mitigating the value of a good hook.
Yeah, very true. And also, we're seeing the Infernus Drifter on the right-hand side with ABL and Sonya Sniper. I think that's just going to be a lot of damage. Though they have to be very careful of, OC sitting in the back, just getting a lot of damage for free as well, with Fremont playing a sort of front line. I think that lane has the potential to really snowball in one direction or the other, depending on how it actually plays out. But then also, I mean, one of the first true S-tier lanes we've had with Abrams Vindicta together is just deadly. But are they really trying to hyperline someone going back to base? But wait, no one's... Oh, they're trying to actually knock the minions down early. They're going for a big push on mid. This is interesting.
This is new tech. I mean, hey, when you want to try and get a Guardian down early, Overseas, though, takes down Tass, and we'll see where this one goes. I mean, I love seeing changes in the early game. Effective, not effective. I mean, you be the judge, but you can't hate the attempt, Jason.
What would they have done? Would they have dove the tower? I mean, they just lost a player instead of anything.
It didn't work out. I mean, I'm giving points for creativity, not points for sure. The actual execution here.
10 out of 10 in creativity.
But a different.
And 0 out of 10 for execution. Well, 1 out of 10 because they lost a player. But yeah, that was interesting. I think they tried to knock the wave so their wave would shove under tower, and then that would allow them to get back to lane time to kill the enemy wave. I mean, that actually is like a very high IQ tech for sure if you can knock that wave down.
But one interesting thing of note, we said in the middle of the break when it was like, are we going to go to 3 or not? Abrahams does have a history of if they're up 1, of using their second game as like an experimental game, both in heroes and sometimes tactics. And I think we saw a little bit of that here, which is why I think Abrahams, even when they're looking stronger, like their team will get taken to 3 a lot of times because they get a little bit silly. But I actually think a productive way when you're in a situation like this.
We did see it last week with Buff Enjoyers, and we had ABL bring out the Drifter a little bit early before the patch kicked off, before Drifter became strong. A slight chase on ABL as he's trying to return back in towards his own Guardian with the help of Sonya Sniper. Make a little turnaround, actually gets behind the Yamato. Fremont's gonna go down. Now potentially we're gonna see OCs go down as well. The 1v1 against Sonya. The card is allowing him to escape, but you can still see the damage ticking. He keeps the Afterburn ticking away, 200 HP and below. Finally, the Afterburn disappears, but you can see he's not in a position to survive.
Well, gets the wall jump after, using movement as his friend here. How much longer can he survive? Gets another card up. This card's gonna hurt. Is it enough to save? No, but still dancing around. OC's making the most of it. That was far closer than you might have expected there, Jason. But as a result, OC's does miss a lot of wave farm during that entire exchange.
Oh, the tether. Empty Dreams got, I think, parried under the Guardian. That was a very weird 1v1. I don't know what happened towards the end. I feel like they just kind of gave up and were like, should we just run away? Should we friends? No? Oh, okay, we just kill each other. As Sonya cleans that one up. Being very respectful there. And I mean, yeah, to be fair, because of that kill, he's not really that far ahead of his opponent anymore. So he's returning back to the lane on the right-hand side.
Also, one thing interesting for OC's was pure Spirit Max, pure card. When you look at how OC's is building, that is one low HP Holiday, flammable low. Parry comes in, quick little shotgun from together, enough to finish that one off. Into the left, Vindicta in the front, and Abrams in the back. And a Guardian that's about to take some real damage, Jason.
Now that's a party. Abrams in the front, Vindicta in the back. You know that's going to be a good time. Again, he pushes up to try to push the wave down so they get some free damage onto the Guardian. Another pause coming through as D-Mob disconnects. So nice job out of Obi Kim. Sees the disconnect and goes for the pause to help him out. Saying he dodged the game. Okay. My Russian's a little rusty lately.
It's a smidgen to pause lock. Also, I mean, we just have trusted our players not to say anything objectionable because I cannot read Russian, Jason. Neither can you, to the best of my knowledge. So
I'm sure chat will let us know if something questionable is said for sure.
Well, they're just gonna tell us everything is questionable and be like, haha, go figure it out. Like we can't rely on chat for that. The only thing we can rely on chat on is their unending support of us here at Deadlock Night Shift, both our awesome patrons, our subscribers, our YouTube members, and those who have donated directly to the prize pool here today, where we started with a seed of $1,200 and gotten $55, which goes directly to the players. So thank you everyone for your support, even if with a bit of trolling.
I think it's good for the community to know that we purposely tried to save money so we can continue putting up prize pools for all the players every single week. I think it was very easy for SAP to be like, we have some profit. Why don't we just take the profit? But we were like, no, we want to support the community. We want to give the players a reason to play every single week. So instead of putting that money in our pockets, we're like, we're going to save this money so that we can continue, even without sponsors, to put up a prize pool to continue to bring you some Deadlock action from a game that we all love every single week. And I think the community deserves to know that. I think, they deserve to know how much we're here to support them. And hopefully going into next year, especially when we hit open beta, man, oh man, things are going to take off. Some wild stuff's going to happen. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in 2026.
Yes, all of that is accurate. They can never know I cooked the books to be one of the first people to buy a yacht from Gabe's new company. It's like, wait, how'd you get a yacht? It's like, interesting accounting. But hopefully Dimov gets back in. This is a longer pause lock than we've been accustomed to, even in EU. But if we could get some item updates here, like let's go bit by bit, because I think the early itemization is interesting. Whether or not you get monster rounds or you just go full in the one category. OC's definitely was all about the spirit maxing and still is 2 purple. Monster rounds, though, the one thing you see in a lot of these builds, regardless of how they're going, although Sanya is saving up for something pretty big here.
I didn't actually see his items. Maybe we can go back to that really quickly just to check. What did he have picked up so far?
He just has one 800 item. And the rest is saving, so...
Is he... No,
Unless
he just not bought? Or maybe he just hasn't bought.
Level 1 or level 2 of improved spirit.
That's level 1. No, that's 2. That's the 1600.
No, it's level 2. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. I think it's level 2. It's hard to tell. It's like very, here you can tell it's level 2. But okay, saving up for the 1600 duration is stun, afterburn, living dangerously is Sanya sniper, but it's enough to burn down Freemock in the end. However, Drifter coming over. OC's able to punish Sanya in the end, and you don't want OC's to get farmed already because he's gonna get farmed on his own here, Jason. But OC's look the punish and can't quite take down ABL. ABL gets his pound of flesh before heading back to spawn.
He gets the isolated kill as well. Worth it. Well, he didn't say it in chat, but that's how normally you get it worth, and that's gonna be a swap in under the Guardian. Parry comes through and some good movement here out of Overseas to allow him to escape. Well, at least for now, as Dimav's looking to go for the chase. I've lost 2 rounds when he picked up the hook's gonna miss, and that is gonna be a dead golem. Abraham's again. Off to getting a couple more kills.
Overall, though, a much more even game. I think part of it is that, while he may have just died there, Overseas is, was able to get several early kills on the Bebop. They've held their own versus this Paradox Viscous lane. What I'm curious on, though, is the sheer damage OCs is going to do in hitting 4.8k. Like, I think the power spike that OCs is angling for in Wraith, may give Wraith a little bit of early game power we haven't seen in quite a while.
So I guess something we haven't seen in a while. Leviathan off to a good start here, getting some kills.
Oh. Tess had 4 HP there, Jason.
He's gonna escape. Oh man, a little bit of a missed kill coming through. Well, I say that. Maybe another hook's gonna land. There you go. Catches on Dimav once again. The parry comes through to mitigate the uppercut, but he's not gonna die from this. Just gets extremely low. I mean, look at the spirit investment already out of Overseas. Spirit strike, true spirit, mystic burst.
Yeah, I mean, Dimov and Tez both extremely low. You have to be super careful. ABL, though, punches Freemock one more time and looking for OCs, who just hit 4.8k, by the way. So we can get the OCs cam in a second. I want to see the buy that comes in, if it is just a pure Spirit Max, and what we get out of that right after, though. Billy goes in, a little bit fisticuffs on the Abrams, may bit off more like the chew as they get charged right back over into the Guardian. Still looking fine, though.
Yeah, good usage of abilities there. Using that Rise and Ram to escape. Actually, yeah, it was the parry after that. Never mind, onto the Guardian. The tether wasn't there in time to lock him down, and maybe we see the push come back in under the tower as Dimov gets the connection. Goes into the goo ball form to get the extra resist to escape. Meantime, we do see the telekinesis going off over onto Sonic Sniper, who is low on HP. You see Leviathan, they're trying to position themselves in a way to catch him on the retreat. It looks like he will survive. He's got the superior duration. He's got the duration already picked up, improved duration.
Ooh, Wamble. Yeah, we get the punish, and yeah, looking a lot better for Leviathan here so far, and I think taking advantage of their power spikes. Again, I don't know what OC's bought, but as soon as OC's hit 4.8k, they went directly to the Guardian there, Jason, and were able to immediately take a really beneficial fight. Still dancing around the Guardian, here we go. Billy taking advantage of the tank ability, but not as tanky as to survive that long. So the punish in from Demov, off on the rotation.
I don't understand pauses like that, where you like unpause right away. Is that like a BM pause?
Honestly, there's a lot of weird lag and other stuff that EU players will claim they pause for overall.
Okay. Oh, good charge. Catches Yamato, force out the shout transformation. Fremont, though, going to be relatively healthy. Able to force them back. We also do have Holiday coming in from the lane. Flammable looking for a connection. No lasso, but the barrels will do a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's turned into a bit of a party here on the right-hand side. Barrel over and in again. Full barrel max coming in from Flammable. A little bit of vitality on the side. Remok burning alive. No shout transformation and very, very low. Probably gonna be a back to bases. OC's comes back in momentarily. Guardian though falling. Overseas able to get it, and 43k to 39k. Abraham's at advantage. Saint just threads that one in. Finds the touch on the Fremok.
And he has a max level assassinate and now a trophy collector in his pocket. He gets the 850 souls from this one. D-Mob not going to escape for now, but we do see, again, Spirit Saps being picked up. I think the Wasana Sniper had one. Overseas has one. Really invested into that quite heavily. I think it's probably, as you talked about before, what was the item you were mentioning last game? That's seen a massive uptick in purchases.
Bolt
BRS, right?
Yeah.
And also Spirit Sap, I think we've seen a big increase. Though I don't know if it's going to go into focus lens or if we'll even get to the point for it to be built into a focus lens. But I believe
Also,
Pass had one last game.
You look at OC's itemization here, did prioritize the 4.8k and then went for monster rounds, and the cards, I mean, pretty chunky, but not enough when ABL just rends you direct to face.
And he's got the Spirit Snatch as well for the extra resist to help deal with it, and he's got BRS already picked up. So really just going to be powering through you as an early surge of power for Obikim. So he should have a ridiculously long time on his stealth if we get to that point to act as a human ward. But Empty Dream's having a much better game compared to previous. He's at 10k on Billy, and he definitely got pressured quite heavily in the last match.
10k Billy versus chronically broke Lash, begging for money, no green items, all spirit. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going for Empty Dreams this game that were not going for Empty Dreams in the last game. Hero choice, Billy being the best hero, arguably, in draft right now. So, Earn, though, is up here, Jason. And looking at it, looks like Leviathan maybe in the market for first Earn control. Billy clearing a little bit of space as Sanya goes down again. Sanya's died a lot this game, too, by the way. That's like, what, death 4 or 5 for Sanya? I mean, Infernus may be good, but God, you're paying for it.
I mean, the slowing hex doesn't really do any help either. Obi-Kim picking it up early, making sure he can't flame dash away as they went for a big connection here. That's gonna be a chain gang onto 2, pulls him towards the Guardian, but not under it, but it's enough to finish off ABL. Trying to find the last player as the bomb is gonna be enough to finish off Tass, and Leviathan looking like a much better team. Well, looking like a team in this game compared to the first, as they also have the Earn in the hands of Obi-Kim looking to run it across the map to go for the turn-in. In the meantime, Son is up in a 1v1 up against OCs on the left-hand side.
I mean, I feel like that's for OCs, especially with telekinesis coming out. Maybe OCs is too much in the hole right now, but that 1v1 continues. And okay, OCs just sitting up here, trying to use elevation to their advantage. Telekinesis, have you activated the trap card? Quite literally looks for it, and no, the health difference is just too much, Jason, despite the setup. Meanwhile, Earn fight being contested a little bit more. Hyper Beam in over the top. Leviathan taking a really advantageous fight here, Jason, clearing things out. But can they get the Earn? ABL going for a little bit of extra chaos here, able to take down Overseas, but Empty Dreams gets the Earn turn in the middle of the melee.
Hyper Beam doing some work here, though. D-Mob is still aggressive in the backline, looking for the kill on Empty Dreams, but he won't have a chance as Fremont cleans him up. And Abraham's losing the majority of the players on that fight are still able to defend on that right-hand side. I actually didn't see who got the Earn turn in that.
It was Leviathan. Empty Dreams was able to get it. So
okay.
Billy not only got for his team, but also got the extra benefits for the soul turn in. And yeah, I mean, it's been a turn for Empty Dreams. You go from Broke Lash to Chad Billy. Like, big difference here, Jason.
I think he already has more money in this game than he had in the last game. Pretty close.
It's possible. All right, let's put it this way. The fact that it's a question says it all. Like, we don't have to be right on that.
14,000 souls last game at 19 and a half minutes. So he's 2k away with 7 minutes to go to break that.
So yellow.
Also, once more, the trophy collector coming out on Saints, but it hasn't been that well fed of a trophy collector. I think at most there's probably like 2-3 stacks on it. Not quite the glut that you had last game, but flammable, just chunked down in the gutter. Fremont super low before Shadow Transformation, not going to have as much HP to work with, and is immediately taken down before the Shadow Transformation can even fade. Once more, though, Overseas clearing out with the Hyper Beam as Sanya gets caught in the double Sinners building. Just, it has been such a tough game for Sanya.
That's a 1k back he just gave up to OCs. I mean, Obi can kind of built in a way to directly counter him, because not only does he have slowing hex, but he also has Rusted Barrel. So when he catches Sonic Sniper, he feels confident he can take that 1v1, even with it just being Infernus, because he can slow the attack speed, making it much more difficult to build up the afterburn. And he doesn't allow Infernus to escape with a Flame Dash because of the slowing hex. So I would say some really smart itemization. Normally, you wouldn't see Rusted Barrel being picked up by a Haze, at least pre-patch. But cool to see a slight adaptation here.
Hey, Jason, look at this Abrams build. You said you were looking at Listic, and you said Listic was going Spirit Abrams, right? This is quite the opposite. This is anti-Spirit Abrams, who just gets slept and runs into a Billy. And I mean, regardless of build, this is be a rough spot for Abrams being cube. Gives him a little bit of extra HP. Is it going to be enough to spring him? Absolutely not. Haze, though, take a look. A little bit back and forth for Obikim. Maybe able to get away, Jason, actually. Totally fine.
I see Billy.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, Listic was playing like just comp games. So maybe the Spirit Abrams works a lot better here than it does, or there than it does in like comp play like this. But I know he was just dominating people with it today. I mean, he even had a match against Tass. He was playing that even when he was behind, he was still putting up some ridiculous numbers with the charges that he was hitting, plus the suck on the Soul Siphon, or the Siphon Knife, I should say. Viable trying to escape from this one. There should be no escape from ABL though.
Yeah, ABL is able to finish off. No, the reason why I bring it up is that it's just interesting that even among the top players, right, like together one of the most prolific frontline players in EU, but so is Listic, just having very different takes on, what is an Abrams right now. And to me, that's actually cool. It's what part of the benefits of a new patch.
Yeah, there's still a lot of figuring out to do. I mean, we're less than a week in, right? Because it happened on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of changes, and I almost guarantee there's gonna be a lot of different things next week, a night shift as well compared to this week, because everyone's just still trying to figure out the patch and figure out what's the ideal way to play.
Or NA even, where for case in point, a lot of people thought Mina was dead going this patch, myself included, and then NA, like I've been talking about it, like Mina's been like a later stage draft pick in NA where people are just like, pick Mina for the Spirit Burst. So a lot of different views in NA on what's good and bad. Aside from Billy, everyone loves Billy.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say NA's always been like 2 weeks behind EU, so maybe they're still playing on the last patch. But, I mean, yeah, we'll see. I'm really curious to see NA's take on a new patch compared to EU, and then see how things kind of do suss out in the following weeks. And again, Obi came here. He's looking for a connection. Like again, look at the freedom, the mobility he has because of being able to just run around for free.
Wait, Jason, when you flame dash concussive combustion out of the Cosmic Veil and you just get gunned down like you're in a crappy 1920s mob movie, like this.
He's 6k behind, man. Like, it's tough. You got the Triforce build out of OCs. You got all three 4.8k moments hit, which makes him impossible to fight anymore for Sonic Sniper. And he needs help. I don't even know where he's going to farm anymore. If they should bother investing the farm into him and just instead have him come to these fights.
Interrupted. The puddle has just been really good at stopping the urn turn in, but not much longer. I mean, it keeps the Billy out of the fight, but you don't gain that much from it. And the interesting thing, Jason, expand on the point with Infernus is that don't forget this was your highest value pick in draft.
Oh my god.
That's dead.
God. He still did a ton of, again, Toxic Bullets, Afterburn still does a ton of damage. OCs, Saint connects on him once again. How many souls does he have in his pocket? That should be like a 1600 bag on him.
Is Abraham's healthy enough to mid here is the question. You have 2 picks, but you're stuck in this extended fight. Maybe you get the Amato here. ABL, way bigger health lead. Going around the right-hand side. Fremont praying for life. Not going to find it, but does at least turn into a trade. You have the comeback in around. Yeah, Saint popped another here, Jason. I mean, Saint. And no one's dealing with the sniper.
I was talking about playing 7 earlier in the ball build and how big your balls can get, but Saint has to have a massive purse on him right now with 3 assassinate kills coming through, and the fight isn't stopping just yet. Task trying to escape, hooks right back in towards his death. But Abrahams, they still have the man advantage here, though they're fighting the other side of the map, and they need to back away from this one and take that advantage. Ahead by 1k. And Sonic Sniper able to grow 3,000 souls in the last few minutes since his last death. So he's closed the gap against OCs, and that helps quite a bit when the Saint's able to take him out of the fight and prevent him from farming up more.
Yeah, and I mean, it's step one, the reclaiming the value of your first pick, because the point I was going to make before that fight really took into effect is that, you know, heroes don't have even strength levels, right? So if you put a lot of your draft emphasis onto an Infernus and your Infernus is having a bad game, the rest of your game is going to feel disproportionately bad because of the other heroes you gave up to have that Infernus, right? So, you know, one of the worst heroes that Abrahams could have underperform here, and I think it's part of why it's felt like they've been trying to fight their way out of a pretty deep hole most of this game.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, OCs has been putting in some very good work here, but now we're hitting the point where flex slots are going to be important. I mean, even a debuff remover picked up for OCs here to shred off the afterburn. Or maybe shred off Drifters too, that Stalker's Mark, so he can't get teleported to. Or even the Tether. I mean, this honestly, debuff remover is going to be a very big play here for OCs in this game.
Big power spike coming in 400 souls right now for OCs. Mercurial Magnum, which I think is gone a lot better as an item this game, but is, you know, always been a match made in heaven for Wraith, but even better this patch. So, I mean, you thought OCs was chunking before. You're heavy spirit base. You're about to get Merc Mag. It's gonna hurt, like, real bad here, Jason.
Oh, good tether on Obikim. And another snipe.
I hope Haythorn is watching.
My lord, this man has been hitting every snipe right now. He's very heavy spirit building. He's got Bound the Spirit, Surge of Power. Last one to come in onto D-Mob, but this isn't the target you necessarily want on the goo ball.
Enough survivability to not die there. Probably the only person who would live in that situation. And I mean, look, I'm just getting worried about Saint's back right now. Like, how much, like, how big of a chiropractor bill is Saint building up? Like, how much lifelong damage from this game? Because Saint has been the glue that has kept Abrahams together in a lot of these fights here so far. Leviathan, though, here, Jason, looking to put that farmed Wraith to work, looking for a bit of walker pressure, and Sanya has to be the man on the scene, and I don't know if Sanya wants to be the one to be this. Like, guys, I've been behind, like, don't make me be the one to defend this straight out.
Nice use of the counterspell, though, by Fremont to prevent that Eternal Knight from coming through to blind him out. You can see the immediate runaway, and ABL is able to get the kill there with the assist of majority of his teams. They do defend the walker, and ideally can give Sonya a lot of this free farm, and he's up to 19k. So he's caught up to his team, he's caught up to OCs. But on that note of Saint, I mean, he is the one keeping him in this game, to be perfectly honest, because of how much damage he's been able to do. A great swap, dying of time, and actually Obikin might be the one to go down here. Kinetic Carbon not going to land, but Together's going to be there to finish him off. And the lead that Leviathan had, ZP, it is quickly going by the wayside here. Abrahams are starting to build up a lead.
Kind of a greedy play there. I mean, Obikim had the read of, like, okay, I could get a quick pick and get out. Didn't account for the fact that Abrams was going to be able to come in immediately and change that around. But you do have urn control here for Leviathan. It's going to be neutral urn coming up. They'll be able to wait for Obikim to come back into play. And now, if you're Abrahams, the question is, do you full contest the urn, or do you try and take a walker and turn? Right now, they're in a spot where they could punish Midwalker, or in this case, they're just trying to chase down Empty Dreams. Abrams from the top rope charges in, but Billy is so damn tanky right now. Still might be able to get away, Jason.
When they turn their attention over to Overseas, and he's like, please, please, I was just trying to help my teammate out. I don't want to go for the fight. I don't think he's going to escape this. There should not be a world he does, but there we go. Flambeau comes in, gets the last of the pull ABL under the walker. Saint's going to try to actually get in towards this fight. He's being chased down by Overseas. Zabiel's just trying to survive against the two players out of Leviathan. So fight's breaking out on multiple fronts. In the meantime, D-Mob's just pushing the right lane walker as ABL's going to fall from this one.
OCs runs afoul Sanya. Sanya a little bit of revenge and a 750 bag to boot. Able to get on out, and now Sanya's just going to go for the walker. You want to talk about a nice bag for Infernus? How about solo walker in on the left? No one there whatsoever. Maybe Together comes in for a bite at the apple, but Sanya poised to get the bulk of it. D-Mob able to get the walker on the right-hand side. Huge turnabout here from Abrahams here, Jason. They went from even the 20k up and 2 walkers down.
That's huge. That is massive. Like, the flex slots they're getting at the point of souls they have. When you can see here for D-Mob, 3 spots open, 4k to spend. Also, Sonya had 7,000 to spend. D-Mob should be able to escape this one as the urn's being ran while all this is happening. Flambeau gets swapped right back in as the Chain King is going to be here to help assist this one, but he's had to drop the urn to deal with Task, who's going to fall and pay the price for this engagement. And no one on his team is here to really help out to stop this run from going in, though we do see the rotations out of Abraham's and primarily out of ABL.
ABL right now being scrappy with it. This Urn's still very much in contest. It was Demov who was being a demon, just continually interrupting with puddle punches to even keep this Urn alive. As a result, Leviathan, they're not able to even things out. Overseas ends up falling. ABL looking to feast. Picked up 2 here so far, but Overseas is flammable. They turn things around from the outskirts. Wraith looking all sorts of deadly this part of the game. Now looking for Inferno Sanya, a common target. Saint ends up falling. No miracle snipes this time around. And off the back of OC's, Leviathan, they even things up. And now, Jason, do they consider mid-boss if they get 1 or 2 more? They lose Empty Dreams. It's still in contest.
Oh my God, the other comes in just a second too late. And look at all these balls, all these purses down here to be picked up by OCs. And in the end, it comes down to, I think, a 5-for-5 trade. OC's the last remaining member, as well as together on the other side for Abraham's. And the Urn was still not turned in. A craziness happening between both teams. And that 20k lead, it's still hovered about that, as Abraham's now turned their attention towards mid-boss. But this is ballsy. I mean, they're going to have their players up way sooner than Leviathan.
This, I mean, all right, we'll see. Right now, does OC's rotate over? I mean, if you get mid-boss here, this could just be pretty much over. But this comes at a risk. Bebop comes on in. Rejuvenator coming on down. Sleep Dagger connects from the outskirts via Obakim. Gooball over. But looking for disruption. Rejuve split. Abraham's up 1. 2 for 1 on the Rejuves. And how big is this fight going to go? Abraham's exploding out the gate. They get OCs and Overseas immediately and take down the Rejuve. Obakim, the one to get the Rejuve benefit, but is immediately dispatched thereafter. 3 down for Leviathan and still 2 Rejuves for Abraham's.
Together, I don't know if we have the capability to show a quick replay of that charge. He hits 3 with his shoulder charge, preventing any sort of bullet dance to come through, any sort of potential steal, though they did get one of the actual Rejuve crystals, but a fantastic charge to land at the right time to keep them away. Now on top of this, the Urn's being ran, continuing to build up the lead. Going to be over 30k when this gets turned in, and as we can see on the minimap, there's no chance of stopping this. Here we go, quick little replay. Watch this charge together. Triple charge, and also on the warp stone to prevent the bullet dance from going out. Like, phenomenal play and a phenomenal production team as well. I have to get the credit for pulling it up so quickly as the fight's breaking out on the left-hand side of the map here, and Abraham's are the ones being forced to retreat away.
I mean, Abraham's, you have to be a little bit careful. You deal with the raid boss and Billy. You lose Rejuve in the process. D-Mob goes down, together a little bit low. Overall, you're nursing a pretty nice lead here, Jason. You're able to get the walker, and okay, D-Mob goes down again. OC's, I think, is doing God's work on the other end, too, as Saint super low. Obakim able to take down Saint on the side, and I mean, Leviathan, they're getting really nice outskirts kills here, Jason. This is a big turnabout for a team that should have had an advantage in Abraham's.
Yeah, that caster's curse. This might, you were talking about how, you know, the mid boss could just end the game here for Abraham's. But they lose 3 of the players, and together trying to go for the contest here on the survival buff. He's gonna get slept and killed off. I mean, the suck is strong, but not strong enough here, as you see him finally building up in towards Spirit. And now Leviathan with the opportunity to go for a push. I mean, they have 4 players down. You only have 1 dead for Empty Dreams, and they should be able to get some walkers off of this. Get some flex slots finally open up for their team. And Siphon Bullets is queued and ready to go for OCs.
6,000 spirit damage on that walker. A little bit under from OCs. Oh dear. Late game Wraith looking mighty fine right now. Urn turn in. Gonna go the way of Leviathan. And I mean, we still got ourselves a game here, Jace. I mean, you think back, that last Rejuve, as good as it was for the game state, it wasn't enough to get in, get shrines, and drop Patron. Both teams still have full Patron. And yeah, you're a little bit behind on walkers right now for Leviathan, but in terms of battle power, you're right back in it.
100%. Ooh, fast picking up a curse. He's gonna go for crippling headshot, I think that was, but instead went for curse to be here for the fight. Again, something to deal with OCs in particular. Yes, he has been a massive pain, especially with the Siphon Bullets now picked up. Even go for Spellbreaker next. Man, but I wanted to talk about this before we actually got into the mid-boss, but Saint, he's at 35,000 souls, man. The Spirit Burn picked up too. Counterspell. He is a massive threat in these fights. 11, was that 11 kills? Can I read my screen correctly? 3 deaths, 10 assists? If you fight in open areas, he is going to be pumping out damage with his assassinates.
I mean, Saint has made Vindicta look really good. Also, frankly, if Abraham's wins this game, I'll spoil you. I'm voting for Saint for MVP, because Saint, has been, the main thing keeping Abrahams in this game in some really tough fights when they're really far behind. Leviathan, via some really gutsy play, was able to bring things, close to fightable, where Abrahams, in theory, if they were a little bit more conservative, they could have solidified a bigger advantage. But, this one here, Jason, still anyone's game, as Leviathan looking all sorts of grouped up on the left. Left Walker has to be on their mind.
Oh, they're all grouped up for it too. They have to be careful. The right lane's going to be shoving. Space Guardian's going to start to be under pressure here. And the Eternal Knight, again, for ABL, really makes these fights difficult to deal with. But I didn't actually check how many counter spells have been picked up for Leviathan. That's definitely a smart use of that item, in particular, to prevent your sight from being taken away. But that's a great swap on a Flammable, not necessarily a high priority target. As the counter chain gang comes through and they do finish off Flammable, so Holiday's going to be out of the fight. The mana advantage back into Abraham's hand. And look at OC's on the left-hand side. He's been forced to go back towards base because he knew the pressure was coming his way. And Obikim, he might actually be overextended here. And speaking of that, together going in a little bit too deep, you're being forced to seismic impact out as he gets cubed up.
Cube into chain gang. Abrahams right now. Leviathan seeing an opportunity. Billy, the one to lead the way. Is the fall through going to be there from OC's in the back? Billy eating all sorts of damage. Remember, Leviathan, they're fighting down one here from the get-go, but also getting zoned out by the Hyper Beam at the same time. Leviathan doing their best as they fight down one. And here's the pause here, Jason, for a little bit of extra mid-team fight analysis. ABL, by the way, is very likely to kill Obikim here. Like, Obikim is in ABL sights, and Obikim not high on HP at the moment here, Jason.
I mean, neither is Freemock. OC's is close to half HP. And Empty Dreams, I mean, he's even lower than that. I think ABL can almost just continue to push through here. And I think Freemock's going to be cleaned up. Obikim should be cleaned up. Though they're, I mean, yeah, he should be dead. This is looking like it could be the end of the game, actually, for Leviathan. If you die here, I mean, luckily you're not on too long of a respawn. It's about 50 seconds, and it's going to take him a bit of time to take that shrine in Phase 1 Patron. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Abrahams just say, okay, you know what? We feel confident enough that we can just finish the game. And here we go. Pause has finished. And the chase by the ABL, it's not going to work.
They're able to punish ABL at the very least. Call it an effect of the pause or not, but it turns it into a trade. Still Leviathan down 3. Abraham still swarming over the survivors. They get OCs. Empty Dreams caught out towards the end. Only Overseas lives, and as dangerous as Bebop can be, this has to be first stage Patron going down. Now, if they stay for longer, that's going to be a question, especially with the hook into the cube save. Right when you think you're heading into the fountain, you got D-Mov there who has your back.
How many stacks do we have from Saiyan? The chat's requesting. They want to know, how much does this trophy collector have at the moment, even though the game, actually, it won't be finished off here, so we'll have time to definitely take a look at it. It should be, I think, almost capped right now. And look at the range. He's 16 stacks. He's got it maxed. The tether range is massive.
They're saying they're going all in. They want the second stage Patron here and now. Is it going to be enough? Leviathan, they're respawning, but Saint gets one more kill. Abrahams, they finish it off here and now. Maintain the throne and shut down Leviathan.
Bro, Saint's got to go see a chiropractor. His back has to be killing him, as you pointed out. He kept them in the game with the snipes he was hitting. Finished off with the most souls in the game. I think it was at like 41,000 at the very end there. The trophy collector with his tether was ridiculous. The range on that, as you saw at the very end, catching Flammable, there's no escaping that, even with the nerfs to Vindicta's stake. Phenomenal showing out of Abrahams, and great to see individual players able to carry the game back and keep their team alive.
Yeah, I mean, especially, again, given the fact that this was a certified comeback. Abrahams was in the doldrums for a while, especially, I mean, Sanya had probably the most tragic set of Inferno circumstances we have seen in a long period of time, just getting crunched by Wraith over and over again. But Abrahams, I mean, able to find a few good team fights, switch things around to their favor, and that mid-boss call, especially here, Jason, something that really turned the tides and let them start building a pretty impressive lead.
Well, the weird thing is that honestly, the mid-boss didn't work out for them. I think they got like 2 or 3 kills, yes. But then the fight after that, they got completely slaughtered, no? From my memory, like, they didn't get anything from that reju.
The thing is, though, from what they got in terms of buildings and on the map and also the kills there, they went up to 30K and then they threw away like part of the 30K lead after. So they still got a lot from this play. It wasn't immediately decisive as you would expect in this instance, because, Leviathan had some good plays to make it a contest, but God, that charge, looking back at it again, absolutely
did he have
filthy.
Spirit Strike? Or sorry, did he have Spirit Snatch actually for together? I don't remember seeing if he had the item or not, because if he had it, like taking the Spirit Resist off 3 players like that, is kind of nutty for your team who's just ready to pick them off. Like,
pretty good.
man, again, a great Q coming through. Demov, in my eyes, still the best player in the game right now. NA, EU, don't care what region, he's still the best player in my eyes, hands down. He's been consistent since day one. I've never seen him have a bad game. And we can see here the match stats. I mean, ABL, 30,000 player damage, the most in the game, most in the lobby, was actually, to be fair, quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, made a lot of the brawls on Drifter look pretty good. Also, I think from a casting point of view, at times it's easy to underrate, but you do have a pretty big team fight buff whenever you have Eternal Night off and in the way. I mean, it impacts the ability to focus fire. It certainly hurts OC's ability to melt someone down on what was at times a pretty overfarmed Wraith. So you get the team utility from Drifter's ult, and you still get really good team fighting on top of it. So to me, I look at here, I think you're going to see him in NA. Drifter has never felt better in Deadlock, even going back to his immediate release.
And okay, so sorry, I was just taking a look together. No Spirit Snatch picked up, but look at what he ended up going for. Like BRS, Superior Duration, Boundless. He was going for a lot. Even Blood Tribute at the end as well. And looking over at Sonya, who had to come back from this one, he ends up going Capacitor, Silencer. Of course, the Toxic Bullets picked up too. I mean, he eventually got back online, and he ended up tying OCs, and he had 7 deaths. And honestly, Zeep, I feel like those 7 deaths came within the first 12, 15 minutes of the game, funny enough.
No, those were almost entirely early game deaths. You're exactly right. And, looking on the opposite side, I'll say this. Even in a losing game where, okay, this is post-patch Billy finally lost, Empty Dreams looked ridiculous the entire game. Obviously, towards the end, when the game started getting out of hand, you could finally start focus firing down Billy, but Billy is ridiculous right now. Both the combination of how the lane phase works in the game at the moment into the builds people are running, and the fact that Billy is able to be so survival and take jungle without as much of a penalty as other characters. Billy definitely the biggest winner in my mind from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, Billy, I think for sure, I don't think there's any contest. Billy was probably the biggest beneficiary of the patch. But I think there's obviously a lot of close ones that come up. Like Abrams also, I think got insanely strong because of the patch. I think Infernus just blew up when he was already strong before. But also, as you mentioned, cool to see Drifter kind of come back into the mix. I mean, to be fair, OCs was doing a hell of a lot of damage. He was just behind. He was, 8 points of damage off being the highest damage in the game. The problem was that everyone else on his team, like Freemock only 18k, Flammable 19k, Overseas 22k, Empty Dreams 21k. No one could really rise to how much damage he was doing. But then again, it is Wraith and it is late game, so it kind of makes sense that he's able to do so much damage.
Also, we got a breakdown here. We got our item stats, our midday item stats for what has been being bought. And yeah, you see some of the changes here. Improved Spirit actually way up in prio. I think in part because it's a nice item that can basically put you over to the 4.8k threshold. Reactive Barrier, I mean, nerfs are not actually higher in priority than we've seen. Spirit Shielding, MIA here, Jason, but Bolt Resist Shredder wasn't on the chart at all. Right up there today, as our eye test has also seen.
I mean, even Mystic Burst, it's gone up 30 placings in terms of items, picked up 3 times in all of our matches today, which has been 3 matches in total. Cooldown, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like standard enduring speed. I think we are seeing a slight change again to how it's kind of death balling. There's a lot more fighting, a lot more skirmishing happening. So the extra boost speed and extra regen of combat definitely helps when you're trying to get there for these fights, for sure.
Are we getting fooled by monster rounds, by the way? Before we throw the MVP, it's saying monster rounds is going up, or is that just monster rounds going up that's not being turned into cultist? I think that's how that stat is going down, because I think people are more willing to grab monster rounds without cultists purely because of the neutral changes and how hitting a neutral without monster rounds feels bad. But those thoughts ruminate on. Jason, we got an MVP. Who's that MVP? It's got to be one person, right?
ABL. It's not him. It's Saint coming through on the Vindicta. Of course, we've been talking about it. We said even during the game, it's got to be Saint. He literally put them on his back in that last match and kept them alive and said, no, guys, I don't want to play a third match. I know you want to mess around a little bit, but I want to end this in 2 because I want to go back to streaming. And that's what he was doing earlier on today. The snipes he was hitting, the lead he was single-handedly able to gain in this game was kind of crazy. But then pairing it with Trophy Collector and the tether range, making more and more kills possible was beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of interesting too, because people always wonder, okay, where's Vindicta at? There was a period of time where she got nerfed. Specifically, support Vindicta got nerfed and she disappeared for a while. And I mean, look, not only do you get great early the mid game power of Vindicta, pretty strong laner, assassinate, you know, gives impact immediately, but even into the late game here, I mean, Saint was the one turning potentially one fights from Leviathan into big losses with snipe after snipe. It was a masterclass of consistency from Saint. And Jason, just the entire mid game on, you just hear the gunshot sound and someone died. And you look in the upper left, it's like, oh yeah, it's Saint.
Did you play CS much? Were you a Counter-Strike player?
No, it was not. It was all action shooter for me.
So there was a weapon called AWP, the big green in CS, and it has a very distinct sound. And there's actually a mod that was made for Vindicta to have the AWP as the weapon and the sound effect. And I think that's the only thing that can make it more satisfying than hitting these snipes as Vindicta, is having that big ass gun sound coming through your ears. But I mean, Saint just pulled off a masterclass on what Vindicta can really do. I mean, he was not only putting out a ton of damage, but Alchemical Flask, Alchemical Fire, the Crow as well. He was able to help his team, not only him do a bunch more damage, even with Spirit Sap paired along with that, but it's helping his team do a lot more damage so they could win these fights.
Yeah, and I mean, all in all, I gotta say, it's interesting to see what has changed here, Jason, and what is gonna get prioritized. I think history has shown this is not the final form of any of these teams here so far. And even going to NA, we're gonna be seeing a big shift as Sneaky Golem, they're back. Full strength, no substitutions. Full on Sneaky Golem against Bunny with Cock. Okay, yes, no subs, but a new permanent roster change.
Yes.
Arcane gone and Xeno in. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, that is true. I wanted to bring that up because Xeno's gonna be a very big talking point when we get into their match coming up. He's been a Yamato one trick for such a long time. We got to see him in one win bombshell where I think he was playing Vin and he specifically told his team, "Don't end the game. I want to get more kills." Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. Just like, hey, guys, I got pad these stats a little bit more. But that brings us to the end of the EU, which is only our half point. If you're new to the Deadlock Night Shift, all of North America is left on the docket, and it's shaping up to be one of the best ones yet. Stay tuned. When we come back after some cool break content, it's going to be North America here on Deadlock Night Shift.
Here at Locked In for